Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so tonight we're doing something a little different. I want you to literally imagine that we're embarking on a spine-tingling, nighttime walking tour right through India's darkest, most foreboding ruins. We're going to use this guide as our map into the unknown, so keep your flashlights close, watch your step, and whatever you do not wander off.
Right, let's dive into this immersive journey. The locations we're about to explore, they were once absolute pinnacles of regal splendor, just pulsing with life, power, and unbelievable wealth. But today, well, they're defined by an incredibly eerie silence and some deeply tragic histories. The real question is, as we uncover the secrets of these ancient strongholds together, can you survive the tension of their dark pasts? Section 1. Enter the ruined citadels, shadows of the Aravalli and beyond. All right, step carefully over this centuries-old threshold as we enter our very first stop. This is Bhangarh, famously known as the Monsoon Palace. It's perched way up high in the Aravalli Hills, commanding this gorgeous view right over Fateh Sagar Lake. You know, this was once a sweeping royal residence, a place of just immense luxury. But today, it's literally an empty shell. Visitors who walk these grounds frequently report this overwhelming, deeply unsettling feeling of unease. On our tour today, we're really going to see how magnificent structures like this horrifically transitioned from these sweeping royal residences into abandoned landscapes of total decay. The original historical purpose of this palace has been completely eclipsed by what it's become. I want you to just pause with me for a second. Look into these empty royal chambers. Just listen. Take a moment to explore the deep, eerie silence here. It's in these exact cavernous halls where visitors report hearing inexplicable noises echoing out of the dark. And, you know, this brilliantly illustrates how the past really lingers, especially as we move to our next location, the majestic Golconda Fort in Hyderabad. People walking these grounds constantly report phantom footsteps pacing right behind them and shadows literally moving across the massive ancient walls. Local folklore links this directly to the citadel's royal history. They claim these are the specters of Taramati, a very famous 17th century courtesan and dancer. Her spirit is said to still linger, forever dancing through her former haunt. Section 2. Echoes of Murdered Royals. Betrayal in the Palaces. Okay, definitely keep the group tight as we move deeper into the tour here, stepping into echoing chambers where royal bloodlines were violently severed. We are now at Shaniwawada Fort in Pune. Built back in the 18th century, this was a glorious Peshwa bastion. It was meant to be the ultimate fortress of strength. Instead, it became a site of absolute horror following the brutal, tragic murder of the young prince Narayan Rao. That transition from a regal bastion into a haunted ruin is deeply, deeply tied to this specific tragedy. If you walk these historic grounds today, I promise you the tragedy is palpable. Locals swear that if you stand right here, near the fortress stones on a full moon night, you can actually still hear the phantom sounds of the murdered prince. His ghostly cries echo right through the dark. Kakamalavatwa. That translates to, "Uncle, save me." It's just a chilling reminder of the betrayal that literally soaked these palace walls. Let's move over to Goa and see how this whole theme of betrayal builds. Before us is the Three Kings Chapel. Now, originally built during Portuguese rule, it looks like a perfectly serene hilltop church, but the reality is so much darker. According to some deeply disturbing local folklore, this very site is where 3 rival kings were poisoned by another monarch who was just desperate for absolute power. The original sanctity of the church was completely shattered, and the spirits of those 3 poisoned kings are reportedly still roaming the grounds today. Moving on to Section 3, Specters of the Dense Forest, deep into the ridge and the lodges. All right, we're leaving the stone fortresses behind now. I need you to shine your flashlights into the trees as we enter the really dense, dark atmosphere of the isolated Delhi Ridge. Hidden deep within this forest sits Mulcha Mahal. Originally built in the 14th century as a royal hunting lodge, its story ends in total tragedy. It became the final isolated residence of a royal family from Oudh. Following the mysterious death of Begum Willat Mahal, this property just descended into ruin and is widely rumored to be haunted by those unresolved royal spirits. Now, prepare yourselves for a deeply chilling eyewitness account from Fern Hills Palace in Uti. This sprawling royal estate was once a hunting lodge for the Wadiyar dynasty. But during a notorious real-life horror incident, guests and crew members literally woke up in the dead of night to the sensation of being tucked into bed by floating furniture. I mean, no way, right? This terrifying encounter actually prompted formal paranormal investigations. Okay, before we take another step, please listen closely to this strict safety warning for our next stop, the Jamali Kamali Mosque and Tomb in Delhi. Located in the Mehrali Archaeological Park, this complex houses the graves of a Sufi saint and an unknown companion. Seriously, do not wander off here. This site is famously believed to be a hotspot for malicious jinns. Visitors regularly report severe sensory phenomena like sudden freezing drops in temperature that literally chill you to the bone, right alongside the phantom whispers of unseen entities right next to your ear. Section 4. Cursed Lands and Vanished Souls, Industrial and Rural Tragedies. We're moving past the palaces and lodges now and stepping into forsaken townships. Listen to this number, 1,500. What could possibly make 1,500 residents of Kuldara village in Rajasthan abandon their sprawling estates and mansions and vanish entirely overnight in the 1800s? Well, the answer is known as Kuldahara's curse. Before those 1,500 villagers disappeared into the night, local myths say they placed a dark, binding hex on the land itself. They ensured that literally no one could ever settle there again. To this day, it remains a totally desolate, ruined township, just a massive architectural ghost town frozen in time. Heading further north into Missouri, we find a very different kind of tragedy, the abandoned Lambi Dahar limestone mines. Now, while this is an industrial site, these massive crumbling structures carry this eerie, almost castle-like ruin atmosphere. Local legends claim that the tragic deaths of thousands of workers here gave rise to intense, absolutely terrifying paranormal activity. The sheer scale of the loss has permanently scarred the landscape here. Section 5. The Most Forbidden Fortress, the Ultimate Danger Zone. We've finally arrived at the end of our dark path. We're now standing right before Bhangarh Fort in Rajasthan, which is widely crowned as the single most haunted site in all of India. Much like Kuldhara, local legends claim this entire settlement was completely abandoned overnight. The magnificent fort was doomed to eternal ruin by a terrifying curse from a spurned black magician. The transition from a thriving stronghold to a cursed wasteland was just absolute dasmai. And you know, this isn't just some old ghost story passed around a campfire. This horrifying history is taken so incredibly seriously by modern authorities that the Archaeological Survey of India has actually issued a dire, legally binding safety warning. While daylight entry is safely permitted, entry is strictly legally prohibited for anyone trying to cross this threshold after sunset. The ruins are simply considered way too dangerous when the dark sets in. As we wrap up this explainer and prepare to finally turn off our flashlights, we're really left with the echoing weight of these tragic histories. From murdered princes to vanished villages, the transition from regal splendor to abandoned horror is totally complete. So I leave you with this final thought as we part ways tonight. When you walk away from these ruins, who is whispering in the dark? And will you be the next one to vanish?